This experience is quite connected with also one event which we are not usually associating with something good, which is COVID pandemic in like only 1-2 years ago, which changed youth work as we were working before, and also gave us opportunity to think more about ways how we can support youngsters, and it also gave some kind of political will to bring on the table new initiatives, and this was one of those initiatives. That's why let's start, and it's working. I started to tell more about Latvian National Agency, but in a nutshell, I could say that our agency is coordinating, administrating all youth funds, youth programs, biggest youth programs in Latvia, which are not only international ones, Erasmus Plus and European Solidarity Corps, but also national state fund, also structural fund projects which are connected to youth field, and it gives us possibility to better build synergies between programs and to test something in one program and then implement it in another one if we see that it works. And very often we are using EU programs to test some initiatives which we know that we cannot put in this state budget at the first, because we need to show results, we need to show this influence that it's working, and only then we can speak with our policymakers and convince them that it is working. These priorities in last years, of course, without EU program priorities, which are participation as well as inclusion, digital transformation and environment sustainability, are also a voluntary work, and as well as non-formal education, increasing role of non-formal education in different processes in different fields. If we speak about youth, and not only youth but also youth work in general. And here you can see that our NA's target groups, especially before new program period in 2021 started, was mainly municipalities and also NGOs. And with youth, we were also communicating that to society that we are not working directly with youth, but we are working with youth and youth policy through these municipalities and NGOs. But after new program period started, and also due to EU youth strategy, which is from 2019, this all started to think us more about how we as an NA can be more open also to young people and how we can work directly with youngsters. That's why I could say from 2021 our NA strategically started to work more directly with youngsters. And also in 2021-2022 we started to work more with schools, which is also somehow relevant with this previous, with working with youngsters, but also as well as thinking about non-formal education later or sooner bring us to this idea that there is huge resource in each municipality, and we are sometimes working like in parallel, in different ways, and we are seeing also some challenges and solutions to these challenges in different manner. But working with schools directly also gave us opportunity to work more strategically. And we were thinking about which are these opportunities for young people, which we can give directly as an NA. And of course, these were Erasmus Plus and European Solidarity Corps projects, as well as initiatives, but it was also voluntary work in our NA, and also in terms of connection between national state program and international, but also with peer-to-peer approach, which we put in different strategic partnerships in which we were involved, for example, mental health and well-being, as well as Europeers. and local projects. And about these local projects, I will continue my story about one example of local, these micro grants, local project type. And it's connected with Youth Policy State Program, which is a national fund for youth policy. And you see that it is found to increase the level of participation for young people, as well as to create and develop sustainable environment for youth workers, as well as municipalities, and increase competence of young people. And this state program in previous years before COVID pandemic was not with a lot of, I will say directly, not with a lot of money to spend in different initiatives. And COVID pandemic changed it because it gave us possibility to make initiatives to support young people. And later, after this COVID pandemic, when we tested these initiatives, stakeholders in ministry decided that it can be a part of national youth policy state programs. That's why from 2022 you see this increase has been developed. This initiative is connected with support for young people and building bridge between our NA and youth field and education, formal education sector. And we started it in 2021, as I told, as a support project to somehow solve all these consequences which COVID pandemic was created in society, especially in terms of young people. And this idea was to build peer-to-peer network, how young people can support each other. At the same time, we wanted to connect it with participation aspect, because we saw that peer-to-peer approach and participation are words with similar meaning, and one word cannot exist without other. And this idea was to give opportunity for youngsters to make their own projects, which are supported from this National Youth State Program, and then they can implement them in their schools. We build network not only with young people, but we wanted that each school is making their team, which was involving not only students but also support person, because we saw that working with student councils, which were in different schools, was not sustainable if we were working only with young people, because they were changing in these student councils at the same time. Support persons usually are the same year and a year, and that's why we saw that it's very important to also engage support persons as mentors, as also part of school, which gives some kind of this permission for youngsters to make their ideas come true as a micro grant. And you see that projects they could make up to 5 months long, and this grant in first years was even less, only €1,000. But this idea was not for students to give a lot of money, but to give some money, but at the same time this experience how to build project from zero, how to develop their ideas, how to put it on paper, and how to later organize this project activities. From last year it's a bit more, €1,200, but anyway, still this main goal for this project is to develop student council network and to strengthen student councils, because we saw it's one of most important parts in school if we speak in terms of participation. Of course, we see that there are many different also ways how we can in school increase youth participation, but what we saw is that the students who are usually showing will to work in student council were very often used not in this healthy youth participation manner, but in other in ways which we saw that need to be changed. And that's why one more time, we were trying to also participate, involve these support persons, usually teachers, who were working on everyday level with student councils in their schools. And also in first years, one of aims was to contribute to increase mental well-being for students. It was a topic in first years, but from this year we are working directly with youth participation and with also some kind of capacity building of student councils. What else I need to mention is that student council team was 3 youngsters and 1 support person, and there were different stages because at first we wanted to make residential training seminars for them, and NA is organizing each spring about 17 till 20 residential trainings in different parts of Latvia, where usually about 5 or 6 teams are meeting together, and for 3 days they have a training seminar in which they usually learn more not only about projects but also about participation, about cooperation. Also they are developing their idea. We are sometimes dividing group, and there is one group with students and then second group with support persons. That way we can give also more targeted this content for each person who is participating in residential training seminar. But we see it as an important part of this whole cycle because it's this main place where we as an NA with our trainers pool and also our knowledge can give this direction to student teams who are later implementing their projects. And here are results in this year. As I told, this project KONTAKTS is happening for 3 years now. We are planning to organize 4th year of KONTAKTS a few months later in 2024, beginning of 2024. And to make some meaning for these numbers, in Latvia overall are only about 550 schools, which shows that about half of all schools in Latvia are showing will to participate in this project. And unfortunately, we cannot accept all applications because usually in these residential trainings are participating about 120 to 150 schools, and later microgrants can submit and get accept not more than 100 schools. And you see here's one of our challenges that not only you see 240 schools are participating later in residential training, about 120 schools are invited, and at the end 93 school projects are approved, which shows that there are different stages in which we need to work more to increase these numbers about students who are participating in residential trainings and also schools who are applying their projects. And very short about feedback, you see these are like main quotes, main keywords, what students are saying about this experience. Each school can participate like each year again. We're not limiting it, and there are schools who are participating now for 3rd year now, and we see how in 3-year period is developing their participation as well as student council in their school. Overall, I think for me the important part is we can influence decisions, which is I think I heard also about what you were discussing also today earlier, and about these ways how students can and young people can influence decisions, and if and these micro grants are one of these key elements which very practically from NA side and also from state and also municipalities, because I know also a lot of municipalities in Latvia are making these micro grant applications and calls, and young people can participate. is one of best youth participation examples, also here you can see some quotation from one support person, Dita, and also from one student, and this feeling what they have had after training, residential training seminar. After each seminar, we are also making questionnaire and are trying to get this feedback from students and also support persons, later also from municipalities, from school principals, as well as project coordinators in municipalities. And the last slide is about consequences of it all, about synergies, because I started my presentation with this beautiful word synergy between programs, about what we are talking so much in last years, so many in last years. And here's example how we are trying to make next steps for these students, because we see contacts as a first step in thinking about projects, about granting them, and we see that after second and third year in future, more and more schools are also participating and taking part in Erasmus and European Solidarity Corps programs. We have strategically tried to organize also project labs in youth participation in different regions in Latvia, and very successful was last year because in 2023, in first round on February, more than 24 of projects which were submitted in youth participation, mostly all were from these contact schools. And we saw this bridge between these two programs. These percents are maybe very less, but anyway, second in this program period, the NA has approved 348 projects, from which 24 has been submitted from formal education institutions. These are 7% now, but I see in 2018, also 2020, this percent was about 4 and 5%, which we see that also is not a huge, but anyway, increase. And as I told, we are approved 36 participation projects now, and 12 of them are from these contact schools, which is 1/3 of all projects. This way, how we see this continuation from national funds and from these first micro-grant steps to EU programs. That's from my side. Now will be all for a while. Thank you for listening, and questions now or later?
Maybe you said, but I didn't hear. When did you start with this program, and for how long will it continue, and what is like the future vision going forward? Mm-hmm. How are you hoping to reach all the schools? Or
mm-hmm. We started it in COVID pandemic, which was in 2021. It was first year we were testing it, and later from 2022 it was put into our national state program, youth policy state program, and from 2022 it's continuing. We hope it will continue many years more. We are not also seeing indications that it could change. How we are seeing it in future, of course, we see that there is need for higher contribution from state funds, because you also saw this number of schools who are showing will to participate, but then there is only half of them which we can accept to residential training, and also even less which project applications we can accept, which shows that there could be a bigger fund needed, as well as, of course, we would like to increase this amount of money for one project, which is right now 1,200 euros, but we see in future that it could be a bit more. But as I told, this goal is maybe in this case not this amount of money, but this idea of giving them this sometimes first project application experience, submission experience, as well as talking about youth participation in different manners and in a lot of schools, and a lot of students has heard before.
Okay, I have another question. Thank you so much. You mentioned the training. What does that look like, and how long does it last?
It lasts 3 days for each school, and as I told, we are organizing overall in 3 month time, usually about 20 trainings, 7 residential trainings, because these schools are about 120, and then we are dividing them in regions. Also, sometimes we are dividing them but at the same time we are mixing groups. Usually in each group can be some schools which are primary schools, then secondary schools, also vocational schools can participate as well. And this training usually looks, in first day, it's more about participation, about student council, about how what are main elements of successful student council, of participational environment in school, and then when we are highlighting this importance of thinking about participation, about also participation steps and levels, students are also trying to map their situation in their schools, and on this mapping they are also building their ideas, how they would like to change something, how they can strengthen their municipality's capacity, or support other classmates, and this last day is more about project applications, filling application form. And also you asked the previous question about what we want to change more, and one idea what we are now trying to do, and we hope that ministry will accept it, this idea that we are trying to think about more for young people friendlier application form, which is also, I think, a question which we are discussing a lot also in EU programs. We want to give them opportunity to just make a short video or presentation in which they are explaining their idea. Of course, there is all these elements which need to be in application form, but only in creative way. And this could be this format how we can make their ideas become a reality.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you.
I'm comparing the system to Estonian reality and trying to think why is the national agency involved in this. Do you not have a student councils union or umbrella organization in Latvia? And if so, do you cooperate with them or National Youth Council, who also could be, I mean, in Estonian case also there has been changes, which kind of organizations belong to National Youth Council. There was also a period where the student councils and the umbrella organization was part of that, but that has changed now. And also then do you see that as a result of your work with these 120 schools and the student councils becoming more capacitated, there could be also some legislation related to giving ground to such developments in Latvia, and maybe also this, if there isn't any umbrella organization, maybe somebody to take over from the national agency at some point at least.
Thank you. Yeah, first what comes to my mind, maybe in other countries also you're saying the same, but in Latvia sometimes people are saying that there are 2 Latvians, there will be 3 opinions, at least 3 opinions. But, I think this is also an international quotation. But yeah, it's an answer. Unfortunately, we don't have strong these unions or it's also connected not only with student councils. Also, we don't have strong organization which is supporting youth workers. I know in Estonia you have a strong association for youth workers, and also the same with youth council. It changes and transforms, and there are years when the student council is working very actively, but there are also these years when we some colleagues are asking me to give contacts, and I don't know actually which person contacts I need to give because he or she is not working anymore. Yeah, and this reason, this background also is the reason why NA is doing this work in Latvia. It was somehow also our idea, and we use this momentum in COVID pandemic in 2021 when we saw that there can be this fund for this idea, which we were holding in our minds for a few years, no one actually didn't know that it will be a success story or it will not be. Now, from 3 years perspective, we can say that yes, it was a good initiative and it works. And I would say we are also open in 3-5 year period to share this project and to give this administration to NGO or other organization, but unfortunately right now we don't see partners to which we could trust and to give this to give this opportunity and to know that it will continue in the same quality as it's continuing, I think, right now.
Thank you. And I travel to Aida for the final question.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Aida. I'm coming from Bosnia and Herzegovina. Congratulations to you. We established also 70 years ago a huge network on School Student Council. Just maybe one tip for your student councils. Our organization has actually a network called Solidarity Action Day Movements. That means that young people from school student councils are learning how to earn by their own money, not depending on EU, municipalities and so on. That means that young people who are members of that network are organizing in their countries action called Social Day. That day is like when they don't go to school, they go to work something, and the per diems that they get from the day, they are sponsor it to the school student council. Later on, those students are deciding where the money will go and what kind of projects they can support. That proved to be, we are working that like 30 years already, and it proved really to be much more better than getting money from municipality or EU or some other actors, because young people really feel ownership over their structure, over their money, and they have this freedom just to choose what they want and not what are the huge list of criteria by EU or other institutions. So just as maybe recommendation for the councils. Join the network.
Thank you. Yes, for this idea, I completely agree that you usually have completely another feeling about money which you have earned by yourself with hard work.